Hello, this is Taha.
This is Anainah,
This is Movie Masala.
and we're here to yap at you about films we watched recently.
And today we're doing.
Our second episode on Sinners because I finally watched it.
Let's go.
That you dead.
So you listening to this? Now we out here playing games, telling ghost stories in place of doing what we ought to do.
And what is it we supposed to be doing?
Being kind to one another and being polite. Now we is one people, and we shouldn't go in barging into other folks' places uninvited. So
I cannot stop watching this film. I've already planned to watch it again, which will be my
God.
third time.
My first and only time watching it. I mean, I loved it, but it took a chunk out of my life.
See, this is coming back to the thing of like genuinely, people need to understand that. I mean, you can tell this how you cannot handle that horror in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show that this really is a horror film in every way. It is a horror film. All of its other elements are like wonderful. But at the end of the day, it's a horror film because I was terrified the living shits out.
In the best way possible.
Yeah, in the best way possible.
Okay, so I want to hear what you thought about this film, right? Like I've yapped endless. I will talk to anyone who can hear about so many things I love about this. So I just want to know what your initial impressions were first.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Initially, I was shivering and needed like a good 24 hours to process my very physical, visceral reaction. But I think that just goes to show that it's made really, really well. And it retains a lot of the elements of a classic horror genre. Like you said, it has the vampires need garlic and silver and holy water element to it. And the vampires are genuinely terrifying. They take a chunk out of you. They bite you. And they have these red glowing eyes or whatever. I think the scariest bit about it is the insidiousness of being allowed to be let in, being asked to be let in. And I think that reflected in a nightmare I had that night where I remember like this moment was like, I think I told you, I was like, yeah, I'm going to have nightmares about this. And I did have a nightmare about it, but I recognized the nightmare and stopped it. But I recognized that it was going to be a nightmare because it was someone asking to be let into my home. And it's just, that's the bit of it that sticks with you of the, you invite, and it's not like a victim blaming of you're inviting trouble in, but it's such an enticing offer.
No, yeah. The way it's sold, it has truth to it, right? Of like, oh, if you're part of this, if you quote unquote assimilate, you will receive this when you can let go of these other struggles. But in order to do so, you are losing individuality. You're losing that own unique flair culture that I think the scene again in that mill, that incredible scene in the song in that mill that happens, you lose a lot of that, right? And I think again with you coming of the insidiousness of being allowed and like to assimilate, I think that was one of the things that was done so well in the film with like you have the mill scene and this very close a bit later, you have the scene of the Irish Rocky Road to Dublin being sung with the whole choreography. I think both of them are really fun, good musical numbers. With the Rocky Road to Dublin, I saw the really good interpretation, which was like how that is much more about assimilation because everyone is dancing around Jack O'Connell's Remick, the main lead vampire. And it's not about everyone doing their own thing. It's everyone coming together and just focusing on one center.
And I think especially like a lot of people had some criticisms of like, but why are we singling out the Irish? They are oppressed as well. And it's like, yes, exactly. That's the point. And I think it's really important to remember that this is the US that we are talking about, like US in the 1930s.
He's specifically setting
in
it
the
there,
1930s, right? Where yes, the Irish were also oppressed. Right. And that's the whole point. It's this point of two groups of oppressed people, obviously oppressed in very different ways and to very different degrees, trying to figure out how to make it in this world that is constantly against them. And so it's kind of showing these two different paths or methods to how you can not like assimilate for sure, but also how you can just survive. I think at the end of the day, this is a film about survival and who gets to survive and how they survive and why they survive. And so yeah, I think that was really really interesting. And I like everything I said about like the Franz Fanoning of this film with black faces, white masks, like chapters literally that you can imprint on the sections of this film. It all stands true. Like at that time, I was only speaking from what I heard you tell me. And now after having watched it, I'm like, yeah. I don't know if Ryan Coogler has read any Franz Fanon, but he's definitely applying it in his film.
Also, like with Ryan Coogler specifically, right? I think he imbues this and film with so much character and like grit, but character also in the sense of like, when I again come back to the blockbuster nature of it, I feel it is also very much a film directed by a black person, and he fully imbues that within it, right? This just cannot be directed by someone else. It just feels so specific with everything he imbues in it. Even when he makes criticisms, it does feel like it's coming from that perspective, right? It's those black characters written by black people for black people kind of thing. And I think that is what really elevates it. And it really makes it so authentic and genuine with its criticisms as well. And you can also just see his love of cinema seeping through the film. Like, again, this is just not a film that's just fully coded with like metaphor. It's also just fun. It's just so fun, funny.
Yeah, and I think, and I don't think like he does it in a pretentious way, because I think I saw a video of him go on like a podcast and be like, yeah, the red glowing eyes inspired by Puss in Boots. And it's just like, yeah, you take inspiration from everywhere. You don't have to be like this high level intellectualized person who only watches like avant-garde or nouveau films to like make genuinely good films that use all of those themes and threads. Because like all I say about the theory aspects of this film come from my own like education or background in film studies. It doesn't come from him saying those things about his film. So like what he says is the red eyes came from Puss in Boots, which, you know, I honestly appreciate a lot, because it just shows how much all kinds of films are meant to be consumed and be used and be like kind of anything can be inspiration for anything. And I don't think there's such a thing as like, oh no, you can't take inspiration from this because it's meant for the masses, or like you can't take inspiration from this because, you know, only pretentious people watch it. Like that's not what film is to me.
Yeah.
Like I definitely think there are pretentious films. But I don't think that like they shouldn't be watched. I don't think there is a film I don't ever think that there is a film that shouldn't be watched, because everything will have criticisms. Everything will be read and seen and watched and heard differently by different people. So I definitely think this is a film that appeals to so many different kinds of people and groups, which is why it's done so well, I think.
It's done so well. Ryan Coogler has like now 3 of the top 10 highest grossing films by black directors, or like with a black director involved domestically. And he's just shown consistently how incredible he is as a director. Like, this man has not made a bad film, right? But also, he's just shown how bankable he is, man. Like, it's just incredible. You see that list, and like, with Black Panther 1 and 2, and now this, he is just really able to push that level of cinema, and like he's genuinely becoming those directors which can draw in a crowd. I hope, like, I want him to have that same draw as people like Christopher Nolan or Quentin Tarantino, or even like to a lesser extent Spike Lee have, right? Or Jordan Peele has. Yeah.
No, for sure. And I definitely think like him and Michael B. Jordan are just
match made in heaven.
They're a match made in heaven. They're such an iconic duo. And I think they work really, really well together, because, and I've heard them speak about it as well. Like they understand each other's language, and not by language, I don't just mean words. I mean like the way they want things to be done, or the way things are done. And I think that comes with working together for so many films.
Yeah, I think you just see someone else's vision. You're able to pick up and read on it and expand on it.
Yeah, and I think that's really impressive and really like nice thing to think about as well. It's like people understand each other to the point where they just make the best possible things to come out of it. And I don't just think Michael B. Jordan was like single-handedly the best part of the thing. Every single actor was so good. Like, I mean, Haley Steinfeld was great as well.
Miles Catton as Sammy Moore, incredible.
Oh God, I found out he's a year younger than us. I was just like, well,
that hurts,
right? And it's just like, oh my God, he was so good. At Wunmuni Mosaku.
Delroy Lindo as Delta Slim, who was just so funny. He was just like he was like one of the heartbeats of the film, I would honestly say.
And also Jamie Lawson, who plays Perline. Oh my God. She was absolutely stunning. Her voice, when I heard her voice, I was like, okay, oh my God, I am in love.
Yes. And again, also just want to quickly, I'll get to another point based on that. But also, again, Helena Hu as Lisa, and also such a fierce energy that she brought to it. I loved. And again, the energy, how people, like you mentioned, like Muni Musaku, and she's also in Loki, right? And someone really well pointed out of like how different and like how like basically just hot she looks in the film. And then I'm just coming back to like how sexy this film is. It's like how Stevie and like all of that it is. And Ryan Coogler does that without, this is not even a single shot of nudity in this film. And yet still it delivers on that. Like it is charged. There's so much tension. And it just really, really makes it so good. It's just so good.
Yeah, and I think how he does that, like builds that energy, tension, is through the music. Everything in this film is about the music. And I think he uses it so well. And Ludwig Göransson, my God. I think, again, Ryan Coogler and Ludwig Göransson are just another match made in heaven. Because I think they work really, really well. They've done a really good job of making music the center of this film, but also not it being the main focus. It is central to the film, but it's not the focus of the film because it's the underlying element to every single other thing that is happening and every single metaphor and point that is trying to be made.
Yeah, 100%. Like, again, like I was telling a friend, this film is kind of just about the power of music, right? It's not about that. But it's also about more than that. It's just the power of music acts as this glue that holds all of the film's themes together.
Yeah, and I also love that it's in theater, there are these 3 Aristotelian rules of unity.
Okay, we're getting deep into like...
So you have, you have unity of action, unity of place, and unity of time. And basically what that means, when they were made, it was like every play has to follow these rules. So unity of action means basically everyone in the film or like the play has to work towards one certain action, or the actions have to be the same. Unity of place is it all happens in one location. And unity of time means it all happens in this one breath of time.
Yes.
And I think what this film does so well is it follows all 3 rules and then breaks them at the same time.
Because it understands them, I guess, so well that it's able to do that so effectively.
Exactly. So the film takes place within the span of like 24 hours. But then in those 24 hours, we travel back and forth in time like centuries. It happens in one place, the barn. But then we also go into the town. We also go into houses. We also go into graves. And so because those are all important to the creation of the mill, the creation of the warehouse or the juke.
Yeah.
And then you have unity of action where they're all trying to fight off the vampires. But then they all become vampires slowly as well. And then all that's left are these 2 people. So I definitely think that it really plays with, and again, I'm putting like this analytic mind. But I think like if you really, really think about it, it has so many elements that it adheres to and breaks, even of genre as well. So I wouldn't call this while it does horror really well, and it's counted as a horror, it also does thrill.
It does musical really well.
It does music really well. It's also so fucking funny. So like, I think what Ryan Coogler really has made is this like general all-round film. And general all-round films don't have to be good. A lot of the times they are not good.
Again, one of the films, surprisingly, it kind of harkens back to, for me, is Everything Everywhere All at Once. This again focused on like a very non-white cast, telling a very non-white story, but also having just so many, it's Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's also not a single genre. That film just cannot be bound to a single genre in the same way Sinner just cannot be bound to a single genre.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think they have like general broader regions that they're working in, but then they just kind of go bonkers and go crazy.
Yeah, it's like he made one of the best vampires films with simultaneously one of the best musical sequences ever put to film.
Exactly. So I genuinely think that like it was really, really great, even if it took like a few years off of my life.
Fair. Honestly, I would still ask people, if you can see this in IMAX, I promise you it is worth it. I fully, this film just does so much with so many things. There is just not a that like it really is a film that will sell you on IMAX. Like it'll sell you to watch films on IMAX more. But yeah, so those are our thoughts. Thank you for tuning in. This podcast is produced solely by us with musical assets from Pixabay. See you again next time.
Bye.